Okay, so I thought I'd show you another one of the many frustrating glitches this game has that I just recently discovered. So here I have a replica of the town of Emmaus, Pennsylvania. And look what this game did to my route. All of the spline points are saved at the wrong elevation. For example, if I use the get height tool, we're like 126 meters above sea level. But if you use the get height tool for the track, it says that the track is at 0 meters above sea level. And if you move the track, it's going to reset back to 0 meters and get sunken under the ground, which I'll show you in a little bit. Okay, so I reset one of them back to its original height, and it sunk the rest of them into the ground, and now they look like this, which is obviously not where they're supposed to be either, because it still thinks the rest of the tracks are at 0 meters. And then if you save those where they're supposed to be, now they're still sunken underground. Now let's go to this section of track and move this back to its correct height, because it still thinks it's at 0 meters. It should be around 125 to 126 meters. So let's fix that. Those tracks are still below ground though, because it still thinks those are supposed to be at 0 meters. So now I have to go to this one and reset this one to its correct height. Now, for some reason, this glitch is way worse around railroad crossings, which I'll show you in a little bit. First, let me raise these tracks back to the height they're supposed to be. Look at what I did to this track. Because it thinks the next spline point is at 0 meters. This is just unbelievable. I've never heard of this glitch happening before. At least not in the older installments of this game. And now I have to go to the next section of the track and fix that. But the glitch gets really weird at this specific location. This is Jubilee Street, by the way. And that crossing you just saw was the South 6th Street crossing. So now we're going under the 4th Street Bridge to the... I think that's the South 3rd Street crossing. And look, the tracks are curving to the right even though they're supposed to be curving to the left, because the game somehow forgot which way I laid these tracks. And the spline points aren't even over here at this crossing. Even though the tracks are over here, the game has somehow moved the spline points several meters to the east. Now, I'm not even sure where the game laid the tracks, so I'm using this mode to see through the ground to see where the tracks are. And it looks like these spline points over here are for the railroad crossing, even though they should be all the way over there to the left. So let's try to lift these back where they're supposed to be, for starters. Okay, right now I am trying to move this spline point back where it originally was, but for some reason it corrupted the route entirely and moved every single spline point to a new location. And some of the spline points for the roads were not where the roads were laid, and that also caused them to be curved in a very weird way, like at this intersection, for example. It also messed up all the tracks, as you can see. Oh, by the way, when you're on a route like this, never press Control Z. For some reason, pressing Control Z on a very complicated route causes everything to get corrupted. Okay, so I quit the route without saving because moving all those tracks, spline points, and roads to the correct location would have been way too difficult. So I'm going to start over from scratch again with this section. But first, let's try to move this road back to where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be around 124 meters above sea level, so let's try and do that. Right now it thinks it's at 0 meters, like I've been saying earlier. Okay, now that seems to have messed up the rest of the road, as I expected. I mean, it's not like you expect this game to work the way it's supposed to. Sometimes you kind of have to expect a glitch to happen that will completely break the game. That's what I've learned in the past few months or close to a year owning this game. I can't even expect the route to be in the same state it was when I last left it and saved it. Look at that. That spline point isn't even where the road is. I don't know where the game thinks I placed that spline point, because that's not where it is. Okay, that was the correct... Well, look, there's a spline point on the outside of this curve. That actually belongs to the road, by the way. Somehow the spline point has been moved away from the actual spline that it's attached to. I've never heard of this kind of glitch. I don't know what could even cause that. Look at that. And then when I moved it, of course, it moved the road that the spline point was attached to. So now I gotta move everything back to where it was. This game makes me so mad sometimes. I try to be really patient with this game because my past experience with this franchise, the game is usually glitchy at first, but then after a while the glitches get patched, and then it's at least halfway workable. But they still haven't fixed this glitch, and there are a bunch of other glitches in this game that haven't been fixed yet either. I really try to be patient with this game, but a lot of times it really tries my patience, especially having to redo an entire route from scratch because it forgot where all of the spline points were. Okay, now let's work on this railroad crossing. I'm surprised it actually remembered where the buildings were, considering what it did to the splines. Okay, about 125 or something meters. Actually 126. Of course, I have to fix the rest of the track points too. But let's work on this road section. Let's see, how high is it supposed to be? 125 to 126 meters, somewhere in that ballpark. Okay, so let's lift it up that high. Okay, that's somewhere around where it was supposed to be. Okay, now this alley street has almost been completely repaired. Shall we work on another road? This road is supposed to be... Man, look at all these spline points. I have to fix all of these, because I forgot where literally all of them were. Alright, let's work on this railroad crossing next. Because really, there's so many spline points for the roads and other stuff. It'll take me forever to fix all of those. Perhaps the track should be what I focus on right now, because that can be fixed the fastest, in theory. Considering how broken this route is. I'm not even really sure if this is worth it, because it might just save the spline points in the wrong location again, and then I'll have to keep doing this. And if I have to keep doing this on a loop, I'll never get anything done on this route. I won't be able to expand it at all, or even finish with the other railroad crossings that I haven't started on yet. Okay, if I remember correctly, this was the last one I was able to correct before the track started traveling in a totally opposite direction to the direction I had laid them in. Okay, we're back at South 3rd Street. Right now I'm placing rulers next to all the rails to remind me where all the tracks are supposed to be, so that when I attempt to move this track section again, I'll remember where it's supposed to go. Because earlier I had to exit out of the route without quitting, because I forgot where the tracks were supposed to be, and as soon as I moved one of the spline points, it moved everything several meters away from where they were. All of the tracks were moved. It also affected this crossing at South 2nd Street, so I'm going to place some rulers around these tracks too to remind me where these are supposed to go. These are the only two crossings that are affected in this horrible way by this glitch, by the way. The rest of the tracks stay where they're supposed to be, even if I move the spline points. They're just way too low to the ground. sunken into the ground about 0 meters, even though the land is like over 100 meters above sea level. But in this case, for some reason, at these two crossings specifically, if you move any of the track splines that are near it, it moves all the track several meters to the north. And I still don't know why that happens. Let me make sure there aren't any other spline points that are in the wrong direction before I continue. Okay, these spline points are where they're supposed to be. They're just too low. Okay, now let's try to move these tracks back to where they're supposed to be. First, I'm going to figure out how high they're supposed to be. About 125, 126 meters, somewhere around that. Okay, I know where the game moved these spline points. Several meters away than where they're supposed to be, that's for sure. Okay, now they're the correct height, now let's move them to their correct location. The rulers will help a lot with that. However, it also moved all the roads in this area in the wrong direction too, so I'm going to have to remeasure where they're supposed to go. Okay, now I'm moving the tracks at South 3rd Street back to where they're supposed to be. Because for some reason the game could not be bothered to remember where they're supposed to go, even though I saved the route. Again, I'm still not sure. Oh yeah, by the way, don't press Control Z. Control Z corrupts the route. If I were to press Control Z right now, literally everything would be in the wrong location again. As if I never moved them. By the way, the only reason I have not saved the route yet is because sometimes when correcting these tracks, the game moves them all to the wrong location. And if that happens, it would be faster to just quit out of the route without saving than to actually go back and redo everything you already fixed. Okay, so this is the 2nd Street crossing. By the way, all of the spline points for the roads, like I mentioned earlier, are in the wrong location. Okay, moving these rails back where they're supposed to go. It is my hope that when I save out of this route and come back to it, these splines, at least the ones that I just got finished moving, are going to be in the same place, because then at least I can run a train on this route still. Earlier, the route was completely unusable. I remember I was test driving this route earlier, and one of the trains was stuck on a hill because the game, for some reason, decided to raise one of the tracks several hundred meters into the air, and then lowered the one directly in front of it to like 0. So it had to go over a ridiculous incline. So I ended up having to correct that as well. This isn't even the first time I've had to correct the track heights in this game. Okay, let's do a quick sweep of this line to make sure the rest of the tracks are where they're supposed to be. I think that's 23rd Street Southwest. Haven't finished that railroad crossing yet. Not really much of a point in continuing this route if it won't even save the tracks where they're supposed to go after all, because then I'd just be wasting my time. Okay, I haven't finished this bridge yet. This is the 12th and Voltee Street Railroad crossing. These spline points actually are where I left them, because I hadn't finished lifting this crossing to its correct elevation yet. So far, everything's where it's supposed to be. Now we're going towards the Allentown train yard, looking for some more spline points that are in their incorrect location. Some of the spline points for the trees aren't in their correct location, by the way. However, I plan on deleting those trees anyway. They're just placeholders. So I'm not really too worried about those. Okay, here's another railroad crossing that I haven't finished yet. Oh, here's a spline point that's not where it's supposed to be. Oh, and all the spline points for these railroad crossings too. It seems to be mainly the railroad crossings where this is happening. Okay, let's get this track back to its correct location. Around like 79 to 80 feet. I mean meters. Okay, now let's fix the rest of the spline points in this vicinity. Okay, how high is this supposed to be? 80 meters. Okay, let's raise these tracks back to 80 meters then. Man, sometimes this game really tries my patience. I mean, they usually do that when they're brand new, but like, this is really special. This is on a special level compared to the other games. I don't remember having anywhere near these many glitches, even on a new game. Okay, let's lift these tracks back to where they're supposed to be. I'll do the sighting track later. Right now, I'm just focused on the mainline tracks, because I need at least that to be functional. Okay, this track needs to be a little bit higher than that, so it didn't even save it at its original location. Okay. A little bit higher than that. This usually takes a little bit of trial and error to get the tracks where they're supposed to be, if they're the switch that's also on a slope. Okay, the rest of the tracks seem to be where they're supposed to be, so let's save it and then exit out of the game and come back to see if it actually saved them at the correct location this time. I mean, it was supposed to do that the last time, but I guess you have to double check these things because sometimes this game just doesn't want to save it where you originally left it. I can't even trust this game to save the tracks where I left them, so I have to actually check and make sure it did that before I go any further. Okay, let's edit the route. Let's go to Emmaus, Pennsylvania, where this problem began, and see if the tracks are still where they're supposed to be. Or did it save them at 0 meters again? Okay, the tracks are where I left them. Everything else is still in the wrong location, but I guess I just have to fix that on another day. The tracks around this glitched up area is also somewhat fixed. By the way, those spline points belong to that road, but the road is to the right of where the spline points are for some reason. These spline points belong to power utility poles that I haven't finished lifting to the correct location yet. They're on the ground, as you can see. So that's actually something I did. But look at this, the road is curved, but the spline points are closer to the track than they're supposed to be. The road is where I originally left it, but the spline points have been moved to the left. I still don't know why or how this can even happen, because I don't remember this ever happening in any other installment of this game. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I literally had to build this entire town from the ground up a second time. And it already took me 2 weeks to build in the first place. I wasn't even finished building it either. Alright, let's get started, I guess. Let's start with this road section. 120 something meters. Alright, let's try to lift it to its correct location. It's gonna screw up all the other splines in a 6-mile radius, but still, let's try it anyway. Okay, that didn't seem to change anything else to the surrounding splines. That's weird. It seems to have saved some of the splines where they're supposed to be, just not all of them. Did I already do this one? I can't remember. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to keep a list of all the spline points that I've actually moved and the ones that I didn't. That should be fun. Especially considering how many spline points are in this town. I haven't even counted how many spline points there are. Okay, what about this one? Yep, and it's going to sink that one into the ground, and I'm going to lift that one as well. Alright. At least these are actually where I laid them. It's just the spline points are too low. Okay, now it's going to sink that one into the ground. That one didn't seem to be affected. Okay, that one's probably somewhere around the same height. Okay, and then it's going to sink the next spline point into the ground. I think you get the point here. Moving one spline point moves the next spline point that it's attached to, and so on and so forth until you've moved every single spline point back to its original location. It's a very time-consuming and painstaking process. This spline point is not where I laid it. That belongs to the alley street that connects to the main street. But it's a lot further away than where I placed it. I placed it just at the corner of the sidewalk. So let's move that back to where it's supposed to be. This is going to take forever. Okay, save it again. Hopefully it saves this time and doesn't place all the spline points at the wrong location somehow. I'm so mad at this game right now. The sidewalks are going to be trickier because they were submerged slightly since they were floating above the ground. So I'm going to have to remember the difference between the actual height above ground level and the height of the spline point. So that's going to be a little complicated. And this is the South 6th Street crossing. Okay, another spline point for the road. Man, this is the road that goes up to the parking lot. Pretty complicated intersection. What in the world are these cars doing? You know, I really should be saving more often in this, especially since this game has a habit of crashing the desktop randomly. And it has done that several times on this route alone while working on it. Usually when laying down train cars to make a consist, I'll be laying down a train car and then it will just crash the desktop. Sometimes right after I click on a train car, sometimes right after I place it on the ground, sometimes whenever I try to move the camera. It's really, there's no pattern at all. Anyway, let's go to the session and see if it saved the track splines what it's supposed to be in the session. Okay, let's go to Emmaus where the problem area seems to be. First let's check these tracks because they were having that problem earlier. And I had to fix them 2 times actually so far. This game gives me such a headache sometimes. Okay, let's see, spline points. Oh wait, this isn't Emmaus, this is Allentown. It always starts me in the Allentown area for some reason. I keep forgetting that. Well, let's check the spline points anyway. Okay, these spline points are not where I saved them. They are below where I saved them actually. The tracks are in the right location, but as I said earlier. So I'm not even really sure at this point if it's a problem with the session or the route, because the route seems to have saved them at the correct location, but then when you go to the session, they're all in the wrong location. I don't want to be bothered with lifting these spline points up again, so I don't know. Maybe I should just cut my losses and delete the session and start a new one. The route seems to be saving the tracks where they're supposed to go, though. What is this garbage? Okay, those tracks were not where I laid them. Some more tracks that are submerged. In fact, there are even more tracks that are submerged than the ones that I had to rescue earlier. Submerged, submerged, submerged. That one's okay for some reason. Those spline points are not where they're supposed to be. Those don't even have spline points. Oh, there they are. Okay, those spline points aren't where they're supposed to be either. That road probably isn't even where I laid it. Okay, those are submerged, 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 submerged. Where is that road even? That road's not even attached to the crossing. So not only is the road submerged, but it didn't even save the road being attached to the crossing somehow. Submerged, again, and submerged. Literally every single spline point in the Emmaus area. And even some in the Allentown area this time. Maybe I should just exit out of the session. Okay, let's just, actually, first let's go to the route and see if it saved it. Okay, the route seems to have the spline points at the correct location. It's just the session that doesn't have them correct. I don't know why. Alright, real quick, let's see what's wrong with this road. Is there even a road attached to it? Did it even save that I laid a road down? Do I have to make sure it's saved that I placed things down now? Okay, let's just delete the session, because obviously it's glitched to death. There's no way to fix it. Start a new session in the future. Okay, if you start a new session, apparently the tracks are where they're supposed to be. So maybe the problem was the session? I really don't know. This game's glitches confuse me. Some of them just literally defy common sense. Like, normally, when you save something, the computer would save everything about the thing you saved. But for some reason in this game, if you save something, it saves some of the things you saved, but not in the correct order. Or it saves everything, but then just scrambles them all in random locations. I don't know what's wrong with this game. Somehow, despite creating a new session from scratch, it saved all the conceits that I had in the portal. I thought that was saved under session. I don't know. Anyway, let's just quit out for now. I don't really feel like moving all those spline points to their correct location, so I'm probably going to take a break after this with this specific route. I don't even know what these cars are doing. Alright, let's try to lift this spline to its correct location then. Maybe that'll fix it. What in the world are these vehicles doing? It is a strange phenomenon that my eyes have not witnessed before. Okay, so there was a road attached to it. It was sunken or something? I really don't know what that was. Okay, now fixing that spline point, of course, messed up the rest of the spline points in the general area, so I had to move them as well. First, I might have to lower that a little bit. Alright, I think that's about where I had it. Alright, this is an intersection that I haven't finished yet. Before I even complete it, I have to fix all the spline points. Alright, let's move these spline points to their correct location then. And the cycle continues. Alright, now those spline points aren't where they're supposed to be. So now I have to lift those roads as well. Alright, I think you get the point by now. There's a terrible glitch in this game. Ruined my entire route. Have to fix everything from scratch before I can even continue anything in this route. That's pretty much the size of it. This game is broken.